A Partnership for National Unity has gone on record to state its disappointment with this date, like so many other citizens, because of course it's a serious clash in terms of education. To expound a bit more on the clash and why is it that APNU is not necessarily satisfied with that date, with me is Shadow Minister of Education, of course APNU Member of Parliament. She also holds several other responsibilities in the People's National Congress reform, but of course today she's here in her capacity as Shadow Minister of Education, Ms. Amna Ali. Welcome.
Thank you, Malika.
All right, great to have you. Let's jump right into the discussion, MP Ali. What is APNU's biggest problem with the date for general and regional elections 2015?
Well, Malika, like you said, the President has already made this announcement that May 11, 2015 will be that the date set for the general and regional elections. I first of all would like to say that APNU welcome that date because you know that we have been advocating for early elections, and we are very happy to have that date. However, one would have thought that the PPP, the government, the Minister of Education, the President, they would have been in consultation and they would have known that that date clashes with students writing the CSEC and CAPE examination. I think on that day, agri-science and home economics are the subjects that are going to be written. And that clash, it is going to have a lot of negative spill-offs, and it is not going to work well at all for nobody in Guyana, be it APNU, PPP, AFC, or whatever, but generally the entire population is going to suffer because of that clash. And one would have hoped that the President would have been in consultation with key people to know that that is not a feasible date.
Okay, I want to talk about whether you've reached out to the Education Minister or not, but before we go there, it is known, the reason that we're having an issue with this date is because some of the schools are often used as polling stations, where places where people go to vote. Apart from that, MP Ali, in Guyana, we've had a history. When we hear about elections, talk of elections, we think confusion, we think violence. Do you believe that there is a fear among parents and teachers that apart from getting somewhere to actually write their exams, these students may not be able to leave their homes?
Yes, you are perfectly in order, Malika. First of all, let me deal with the question of having discussions with the Minister of Education. As soon as that date was announced, calls started coming in about students writing these exams. And I did call her on several occasions. But I feel that while she knows that CSEC is going to be on that day, she is helpless, even though she said that they are making efforts to examine the issue. So far, we have not heard anything concrete from the minister, nor the government, the president, or anybody as to what is actually going to happen. Now, let me tell you, there are going to be a lot of spill-offs if this examination has to be written on that day where that clash is going. Election day, you don't know what is going to happen, whether you're going to have peaceful elections, violence, as you said, whatever. But more than that, it's a day when anxiety is at its topmost. Parents are anxious, children are anxious, children are fearful of going out. The schools, to a large extent, are going to be used as polling places. And so it is uncomfortable. It's not workable for us to have CSEC and elections on the same day, because what is going to happen with those schools that are going to be used as polling stations? You know, we have advocated that we do not want private residences for polling stations because all kinds of skullduggery can be, can be afoot when you use private residences as polling stations. And so we prefer the public places, we prefer the schools and so on. And you are going to have a problem if the clash still remains.
Were the president to suddenly come out and say, okay, I've listened to all the concerns, including concerns by APNU, and I will change the date for the general elections, how far away from 11th of May can he go?
Well, first of all, you will know that at the moment, the parliament is still in prorogation because the president has not signed any proclamation for elections, etc. I think that what he should do is put it a few days prior to May 11th, and then probably they will count backwards and do whatever they can in order to come up with the constitutional date and so on. Probably the Saturday before May 11th. You see, you hear this talk about the government wanting to have elections around the time when it's Indian Arrival Day in order to mobilize their support base. These elections are not going to be about race. Let me state that categorically. It is about issues, and so I think the PPP will be sadly incorrect if they were to think that it was a good strategy to have the elections either on in Indian Arrival Day or close to it thereof. And also, I think they are hoping to welcome dignitaries for that. But be that as it may, whatever is their thought or whatever is their strategy, that's their business. What we want is the elections. We want it early. We want it probably before we have no difficulty if it is before May 11th. But we want the elections to come on, but we don't want any clash with education. This country is already in a sad state where education is concerned, and we don't want to worsen it.
MP Ali, are you willing to publicly say that this is a delaying tactic by the PPP?
This is more than a delaying tactic. The PPP doesn't know what to do. The PPP is scared of what is going to be the outcome. And so, yes, they are trying to delay it as far as possible and to use everything they think to stay in power.
I asked you earlier if the president were to change the date, how far away from May 11 can he go? But let me ask you this. If he refuses to change the date, how much more can yourself, Brigadier, and the Partnership for National Unity do to probably get your point across to the government?
I think by now that we have gotten our point across to the government, what I can say to you, Malika, this is not only myself, Brigadier, or the APNU. The country as a whole, parents, teachers, invigilators, students, all across Guyana, they are objecting to this. And they are coming out, they are protesting, they are doing all sorts of things to make a statement to the government. It is not a suitable date. And like I said earlier, we welcome a date earlier or maybe a few days later, just a few days later than 11, because we just can't wait for this moment.
In the final minute or so of this broadcast, MP Ali, what do you want the public, especially parents and students, to know in terms of assuring them that, look, APNU has their best interests at heart where this issue is concerned?
Well, Malika, in conclusion, I will say that I want to assure parents out there and generally Guyana that APNU will stand firm in making every possible recommendation to the PPP government to rethink their strategy, to rethink this date so that it will not affect our young children. We have our children at heart. We want the best in education for them, and we will recommend to the government to change the date and let us have smooth and peaceful elections.
Thank you very much, MP Ali. Shadow Minister of Education, of course, she is also, well, she is still the opposition chief whip because the parliament has not yet been dissolved. This has been APNU in Focus. I am Malika Ramsey. Thank you very much for joining us. Goodbye.